Good morning, parents everywhere, and welcome back to the Homeschool Staff Room. It is Thursday morning here, and that means we're nearly through our first week of homeschooling here in the UK. I know it's been tough, but keep it going because we can do this. Right, today's tip. I want to talk to you briefly about checking for understanding. And this is a great tip not just for homeschooling, but actually something that you might be able to use for a general study at home, homework, preparation for exams, whatever it may be. So hopefully this tip will not just be useful for this week, but certainly for weeks, months and years to come as a parent. And it's really important to know that if you set your child away on a task, that, have they actually learned something at the end of it? Or even just, have they done it? I've asked them to do it. Have they done it? You might have been out, you might be doing something different, you might be doing some work. How do you know that they've actually done something? And more importantly, how do you know that they've actually learned something from that? So a very easy, quick way to do this is to do a little bit of checking for understanding by actually just asking them, kind of almost what they've done. But the key here is in the language. If you just ask them, what have you done? They'll literally just tell you what they've done. And they might just say, well, I've done some maths, or I've done some English, or I've done this. By changing that language very, very slightly, by saying to them, tell me what you've learned in the last 25 minutes. Just that one word makes a big difference, and it opens up a whole new different conversation, because they've then got to tell you actually what they have physically learned. And you can then check for their understanding of what they've done. You don't need to know the content yourself, because you will be able to work out through the clarity of their explanation of what they have learned in that 25 minutes, whether they've actually learned something and whether they can actually describe it to you in detail. And it's great for actually summarizing what they've done as well. And that's a great skill that students need to learn in the process as well. So really, really interesting to do this, because not only does it let them tell you what they've learned, and you can check that they've actually learned something, but also it does something that we call active recall. And memory is all about activating that prior information and their prior learning. So by actually having them go back in and recall what they've done and tell you that actually strengthens the memory itself. And that's really, really important. We're doing lots of that in schools at the moment in terms of quick, low stakes quizzing, asking kids questions about what they've done, because they have to then go back into their memory, fetch that information and bring it back to the forefront of their memory. And what that does is it strengthens their long-term memory of that content. So by doing this checking for understanding, not only are you checking that they've actually done something, you are checking that they've learned it, you're also enabling your child to recall that information and strengthen their memory of it by actually sitting and telling you what they've learned. So it's a great way to do it, very, very easy. And it gives you some role in their learning as well. So not just that you're timing it, but actually you're going to do a little bit of quizzing, you're going to ask them some questions on it. And maybe even if you want to go a bit further, grab what they've been learning, have a little skim of it, and just ask them a few questions on something that they've done. Just pull out some key words. Tell me about this, or this is interesting. What can you tell me about this, or what's this, what's that? So you don't necessarily need to be an expert in it. Just grab the book, ask them some questions, and you can maybe do that in the 5-minute break that we talked about in between those 25-minute segments. So a great way to do it. And what this allows you to do is just to make sure you're optimizing their time and you're making their time effective, because we can all sit there and just read something for 25 minutes and it have no impact on us. So by doing this, you are increasing the effectiveness of it, and hopefully you're making it stick far greater and far longer in their long-term memory. All right. Keep it going, everybody. I will check back in with you tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday, the last day of the first week, and we're going to be talking about rewards tomorrow. So check back in for that. And I'm sure you're doing a great job. We're like Boris Johnson said, we are enlisted in this together. We've got a sense of duty to help the country out, to keep our children at home wherever possible, to keep them educated, and we can do this. Come on.